Today's lesson is going to talk about percents. We're going to learn how to do some simple percentages mentally, and then we'll talk about working with the calculator in regards to percents. Of all the things that you can learn in math, percents is one of the most valuable because it literally applies to your everyday life. Anytime you go into a store, something is marked with a certain percentage off, or things might increase, insurances change by percentages, so it definitely applies to life. So let's just start with the basics. Percent actually means to divide by 100. So if you want to change a percentage into a decimal form, all you have to do is move the decimal left 2 places. So for example, 4% means 4 divided by 100. So if you wrote 4 with a decimal, it would really be 4.0, and you move the decimal left twice. So 0.04 is 4%. So it's just like 6, you would move the decimal twice to the left. It's 0.06. 25%, if you move the decimal left twice, it's 0.25. 50%, we can probably figure out. And I just picked something over 100%, so if you ever get something crazy like that, you understand what it looks like. So you actually have 1.14. I'm going to go ahead and add 100% so we realize what that means. 100% would just be 1.0. Okay. So just some ways to turn percentages into decimal form. Alright, so we are actually going to get these percents. We're going to get the values mentally, so no calculators allowed. I'm going to show you how. So your first trick is to get 10%. Alright, so let's get 10% of 120. All you do is move the decimal left once. So 10% is 12. But we don't want 10, we want 30%. So in order to go from 10 to 30, you have to multiply by 3. It's going to be the same thing with 12. So 12 times 3 is 36. So basically to get 10%, you're going to move left, and then to get your percentage, you're going to multiply by whatever that is. So let's try 60%. So we move left once to get 20, and we're going to multiply by 6. So it's 120. 20% of 42,000, move left and double. So you have 4,200 times 2. And that's going to make 8,400. Alright, 15% of 100. By the way, anytime it's of 100, it's the number itself. So we know it's going to be 15. But even if you weren't sure, 10% of 100 is 10. So in order to get to 15, you need an additional 5%. So 10% is 10, then 5% is 5. Because it's half of 10. So 15 is your answer. So let's try that with 25%. So 10% will be 4. 20% is 8, and you're going to need a 5%. So if 10% is 4, 5% is 2. So I need to add 8 and 2, and I get 10. 10 is 25% of 40. Right, that's how we do these without calculators. Okay, so now we will use a calculator because sometimes the numbers aren't nice and pretty to work with. So it says 23%. I'm going to convert that to 0.23. Of means times. What? So we'll maybe use x is 32. So if you just kind of take it one little phrase at a time, you can set up an equation. So obviously we're going to divide by 0.23. You get 139.13. Alright, let's try again. So 75% is 0.75 of is times how much? So let's use y is 30. So it's going to be the same process as before. So you get 40. So 75% of 40 is 30. So that's how we calculate percentages. We're going to talk about what happens when the price of an object increases or decreases. Okay, so if you have an increase and decrease in something, and it's expressed as a percentage. So let's say you get a 20% raise at work. That percent is called the percent of change. So you can have a 20% raise at work, which would be fantastic. You can have a 50%, which would even be more fantastic. You could see population decline by 10%. So those are some things that are examples of that. So let's take a scenario. You're going shopping and you find a shirt that originally cost $32. Now the sale price is $24. So you're supposed to find the percent of change. The first off, you need to decide, is this a decrease or an increase? And obviously it's a decrease because the sale price went down. So that means that you're going to take the original price. Since it's going down in price, you're going to subtract. And we don't know what the percent is, so we have to use maybe P for percent. And you always subtract the percent of the original. So it's P times 32 equals 24. Right? So if you were shopping and it said this shirt's 20% off, you would do the original price minus 20% times the original price. That's how you do the math. Alright, so we go ahead and solve. We're going to subtract 32. 24 minus 32, we get negative 8. Now I'm going to put negative 32 out in front of P. And then we actually divide by negative 32. So I know in my head that that's 25%, but if you need to check, you can always try it. 8 divided by 32. There you go. So it was a 25% markdown, is usually what they call it in the retail world. Okay, let's try another one. So you bought a house for $120,000 10 years ago, and it's now worth $150,000. What is the percentage change? So this is obviously an increase. This is what you want when you buy a house. You want your house to be more value than you originally purchased it for. So you take your original price, and you're going to this time add, since it's an increase. And then if you were getting the percentage, you would take the original price times the percentage of change. And that's going to get you $150,000. So then we're just going to go through and solve. So you're going to find out that you're also going to still get 25%. So it was a 25% increase. So in general, you can always set up an equation just like I have. That's actually the way I do it. But if you want a shortcut, because some kids like shortcuts, I'm going to take the new price minus old. And you're going to divide it by the old. So let's turn our attention to a sales tax problem because that's something that we see every day. So you're going to buy a concert ticket, it's $45. So you have sales tax at 6%. What is the total price of the ticket? So this is a little different. You're not finding percent change, you're actually calculating your new bill. So if you pay $45, you need to add on 6% of $45. Now this says no calculators, and here's why. You can do 45 times 0.06. What I like to do is I like to write 40 plus 5. So when you multiply a decimal with a whole number, you actually can ignore the decimal. Just do 6 times 40, and when you're done, move the decimal left 2 places because this is 6%, so you have to move your decimal left to get back to where the point originally was. So 6 times 40 is 240, but I'm going to move the decimal left twice. So 6% of 40 is $2.40. Right, if we do 6 times 5, that's 30, but you have to move the decimal left twice. So that's 30 cents. So your tax is going to be worth $2.70. So now you take your concert ticket and add on your sales tax, and you are going to pay $47.70. So it is possible to work with 6% without using a calculator. Okay. So let's try that again. So you're out shopping, and an iPhone that originally cost $240 is on sale for 30%. That should be in. I'm sorry, I don't like incorrect grammar. Is on sale for 30% off. What is the new cost of the phone? Okay, so you're going to take your original price, and it's 30% off, so that means you're going to lower the price by 30% of 240. So again, there's no calculators. We should be able to use the 10% trick. So 10% of 240 is 24, right? Move the decimal left once. So if you want 30%, you have to do 24 times 3. So you're going to get 72. So 240 minus 72 is going to give you, let's see, we have 8 and 30 minus 6. So it should be 168. Let's just double check. Yep. So there you go. The new price of the iPhone is going to be $168. So basically, the higher price that you pay for something, the bigger discount you're going to get. Alright, so I do want to talk more about the sales tax thing because it is standard in Pennsylvania. So sales tax for us is 6%. So what that means in layman's terms is that for every dollar that you spend on something, you have to pay an additional 6 cents. So if you pay $10 for something, you have to pay 6 cents times every dollar. And 6 cents times 10 will make 60 cents. So if something costs you $5, you're going to pay 6 cents 5 times. So you're going to pay 30 cents. So your actually total bill is going to be $5.30. That's how sales tax works. Right, so these are going to be mental computations. We're going to get 6% of each of these longhand, okay? So 6% of 15, again, we're just going to do 6 times 15, and then we'll move the decimal left twice. So if you do 6 times 15, you're going to get, I believe you're going to get 90, and you move the decimal left twice. So 90 cents is your tax. 36 times 6, so I'm actually going to break this 36 into 30 plus 6, like that. 6 times 30 is 180. 6 times 6 is 36. So you're going to get, move the decimal left, $2.16. Do it one more time. 6% of 2, so 6 times 2 is 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And move the decimal left twice. So it looks like 12,000. It's going to be 6% of 200,000. So you can see, like, if you spend a ton of money, maybe like buying a house or buying a car or something like that, that's a lot of sales tax that you pay. So it might not seem much for something that's $15, but when you get to 200,000, it is a lot of money. Calculators, since these cents are not zero, it might be a little bit trickier to do that. So all you have to do is take 0.06, take your 6%, and multiply it by the price. So go ahead and do that for all three, and then we'll check our answers. So my answers came out to be $2.58, 77 cents, and $13.21. So we're going to do one summary problem. We haven't seen one like this yet, so I'll make sure we know how to set it up. So Jocelyn is going shopping for a new calculator since math is her favorite class, of course. Her bill total after her sales tax was applied was $13.63, so you have to go backwards and find out what the price on the shelf was. That's pre-tax, so what the calculator was on sale for. So what you're going to do is take what you don't know, because that's always where we start. So let's use C, the original price of the calculator. Sales tax means you're adding on to the cost. So you're going to add 0.06 of C. So original price plus 6% of the original price for a total of $13.63. So once you do that, it's pretty easy. You just combine your like terms. All right, so that price of the calculator was $12.86. And that's it.